Coming in at just $17 on Journalsay, this is by far the most affordable reading journal I've reviewed yet. But is this a case of you get what you pay for? We're about to find out. Hi, I'm Erin, book lover and reading journal keeper. I'm a big fan of DIYing my own reading journal, but I know not everyone has the time, the inclination, or the stationery collection to make their reading journal from scratch. So I've tasked myself with testing out pre-printed reading journals to help you find the one for you, or at least to help you make a more informed purchase decision. And I'm super curious, if you are in the market for a pre-printed reading journal, what kind of budget are you thinking of? What would you be willing to pay? The reading journals I've reviewed in the past have largely been from boutique stationery brands and sold at luxury price points, but this one's as cheap and cheerful as it gets. Let's take a look at this no-name reading journal I stumbled across recently on discount online stationery store Journalsay. For transparency, I have an ongoing relationship with Journalsay, and they kindly gifted me this journal as part of a haul I did with them recently, but they haven't sponsored this video, and the views expressed here are my true and honest opinion. I also have an affiliate code with Journalsay, so if you're keen, you can get 8% off this or anything else at Journalsay with my code Erin. That's a whole $1.36 off this journal, don't spend it all at once now. While we're disclaimering, I did go hunting online to see if this reading journal is available anywhere else, since a lot of what Journalsay stocks is also available on other discounted stationery stores online, and I did see it pop up on a few of the major online Chinese retailers, as well as this Amazon UK listing, although wow, what a price difference. 17 US is about 25 Australian dollars at the moment, just for reference, and some of the pages in this version appear to be in a different order. With no branding or distinctive markings on the journal, I didn't have much to go on besides a reverse image search, so it was a bit tricky, but I also found this reading journal from a brand called Kunitsa Co, and it appears that at least the cover of the journal I'm reviewing today is a direct ripoff of the Kunitsa Co journal, although from the product listing images, the internal pages appear to be very different. Should I review the Kunitsa Co journal next? Let me know in the comments. We'll never know if this reading journal is any good unless we try it out, so let's take a full flip through of this journal, then put it to the test with some of my own recent reading history.
Let's dive in. So the very first thing I'm noting here is that even though it doesn't feel the same quality as some of my journals in my collection, this one is showing some of the same features that I expect out of a bullet journal. So let's just take stock of how many of those we have. There's the elastic closure that keeps the cover closed. There's one ribbon bookmark down here. It's got like a little stitch in the end that has it sort of gathered. I don't think it's meant to be like that. I just tugged on it and it came down. Look, it'll do its job as a ribbon bookmark, but it's not feeling very nice. It's got a little run in it now that I've done that. There's a little elastic pen loop over here that's attached to the back cover, so you can slide your pen into that loop if you want to take this with you on the go. And I believe there's also, there's a pocket in the back, so if you want to slide your extra book covers or something in there, then you can do that if you like. Little bits of ephemera, sticker sheets, whatever it is. Those are nice to have, but they're not the most important thing, so let's have a look at how this actually works. I've seen this page before with a different kind of background, but I've seen the This Planner Belongs To in actually one of my older Tifosi notebooks, and then also a notebook that Tifosi sells that was also available on Stationery Pal at the time. No idea if it still is. I didn't love it in the context of the other journal. I feel like it makes a bit more sense here because this is already very clean and simple. Oh, we didn't talk about the cover. Shall we do that briefly? This particular colorway isn't available on Journalsay right now at the time I'm recording this. I have a feeling you'll be able to find this in places other than Journalsay. I'll have a look around and see what I can find. Off the top of my head, I don't remember if the embossing is in the same color foil on the other versions or not, but it's a rose gold, kind of a copper tone on this dusty blue, which I think is quite nice. The rose gold is giving a little bit 2010s because we did have a moment with it at that time, but you know, metallics don't really go out of style. And then we've got this on the spine as well. I think the combination is interesting of this slightly scripty lettering with this really clean sans serif, and it's the same over here. I actually really like it on the spine. If you hated this, of course, you could put a sticker over it. If you're spending $17 US on this journal, I think we can give it some concessions, you know? The cover being one of them, although I don't think it's in any way offensive. Right now, the only version that they have in stock on Journalsay is a peachy pink. There seem to be 4 options in total on Journalsay, so hopefully they'll come back into stock soon if this seems like something that would interest you. Back to this first end sheet nameplate page here. Do you know what? Thinking of the rose gold over here, this is also kind of giving 2010s millennial pink, you know, and the marble. She's maybe living in the past a little bit, but as a millennial who loves pink, I'm sort of into it. I don't love that it calls itself a planner here and a reading journal here, but I have a feeling this is like a default nameplate page with some manufacturer because it shows up in so many journals, and so they must just be like, Tick box, yes, that one please. That is purely speculation. I have no idea. I've never ordered a journal. Okay, it does lay flat too, which I didn't mention before. It does open all the way. This is that awkward first glued page that I never really know what to do with. Let's just try and flatten that out. Okay, so the very first thing in the journal is a 30-day challenge, which is a choice. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay, my goal. Why is this important for me? What can I do to accomplish it? Weaknesses, reward. Let's do this, but for some reason we're in a little script font here. And we've got a little chain of circles. I suppose that's for whatever you set for your challenge. How many are there? 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay, 30 blobs for 30 days. I guess that's fair. I had been thinking like each one would represent a book, but maybe not. Each one is maybe representing a day. Bit annoying in months that have 31 days. You can still use it for a February, but still 30-day challenge. I guess that's fine. How did it go and what did I learn? And we have that little bit of marble. It's not exactly the same, it's a different bit of the pattern. Maybe it's been rotated or something, lining the top and bottom of the page as well. I don't know that I would start a reading journal with a 30-day challenge. This feels like the natural place for trackers for me, but I guess this is kind of a tracker. It's just a tracker that only covers 30 days. Okay, interesting. Tandem reading report. What? Oh, I kind of hate the way they've done the Monday to Sunday here. M for Monday, T for Tuesday, W for Wednesday. Great, fine. Capital T, lowercase h for Thursday, in case you were going to get it confused with Tuesday. I think we're all right with that, honestly. Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday has a little U as well. Oh no, I don't like that. And then we've got space beside each one of those, I guess, for the name of a book. Tandem reading. The case that springs to mind for me is a couple of the Throne of Glass books, right? Like people will read the 4th and 5th books, is it, together? Because they happen concurrently, but following different characters. And so I guess you'd write the titles of both of those books here. I used to do it with the leaked version of Midnight Sun and the first Twilight book before I knew that there was a name for it long ago. But then how do you use this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday tracker over here? Like, do you write the number of pages? I don't really do this whole tandem reading thing. I've read those 2 Throne of Glass books, but I did them separately. It was far too much work for me to be trying to separate them by chapters and stuff. So I don't know, I feel like this is not a page for me. If you do tandem reads more often than I do, can you let me know if this page would work for you and how you would use it? Leave it in the comments for me because I've got no idea over here. And on the right page we've got a reading check-in. Okay, this seems fun. We're still keeping our pink top and bottom marble going on here. What am I reading? You've got space to list some stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 slots there. That would be adequate for me and the amount that I'm reading at the moment. Erin, this time last year, it would not have been adequate. I mean, I suppose it depends on the period. Like if you read a lot, maybe you do your reading check-in based on a week. If you're reading at a speed more like I do, maybe you do it for a month. I don't know, it depends on what else is in the rest of the journal. Anyway, 7 spots there for what am I reading. Not a huge amount of space. I think I would run into some issues with long titles there. What part of my book made me have all the feelings? Wow, that's very casual. What part of my book made me have all the feelings? Something doesn't feel comfortable about that wording, but I don't hate it as much as I hate this. This week I felt, what, just in general or about the books? Quote of the week from, I guess, your favorite quote of the week from a book, and you can say which book and add your quote in the space. Things to discuss with my therapist post-reading? Wow. Not going to be sharing my reading journal online if I'm filling that one out. Also, there's not a lot of room there. Very, very, very interesting. And then book boyfriend / girlfriend shout out. This one I like. This is very strange to me, but I like the concept of the page, a little reading check-in. A little unusual that we've got space for 7 books to be listed here, but which part of my book? Just one. I suppose you just pick the one that you felt the most strongly about. No page numbers here and no index, which is interesting to note. And only 1 ribbon bookmark, so that'll be interesting depending on what else is going on in here. Book reviews. All right, we've got 4 to a spread. This looks good to me. We've still got marble. Something that is, oh yeah, those ones are the same. We've still got the marble going on top and bottom. That's the same marble print. Was it the same one over here too? No, that one, oh yeah. Looking for the rings. The rings, is that the same thing, just reversed? Yeah, it is. And then the rings again, okay. Repeating the pattern here. Title, gave you a decent amount of space for the title, I respect it. Author, overall star rating. Vibe, okay, we've got like a mood tracker, kind of a vibe check here. Very happy on the left. We've got a little tear We've got that must be angry, I guess, at the end. And then we have a spice rating too. So 6 different emojis to choose from, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spicy chilies to rate your books on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 to 10 is fine, I guess. If you normally did like 5 chilies, like a rating out of 5 chilies, like a rating out of 5 stars, then you could just kind of, like a 3 out of 5 chili, I guess, would just become a 6 out of 10. And the space for thoughts and quotes underneath. I like that it's not getting too prescriptive about the way it's having you review. If you want to make this a summary, you can just summarize the book. If you just want to record quotes, you can do that. If you want to write down what you thought about it, absolutely. And if you just wanted to use this space to do a little bit of chill decoration, you could do that too. Not forcing you into any book covers here, which is helpful for the folks who don't have access to printers and that kind of thing. I personally love a book cover in my reading journal, so I'd be a little sad. I'd probably add one anyway somewhere. Not a huge amount of space, so it would probably just have to take up some of the line area for the thoughts / quotes. But we've got 4 book reviews, 8 book reviews. Okay, 8 book reviews, and then, oh, some of the weirdest dot grid paper I have ever seen. Let me hold this up really close to the camera for you, because this is very weird. What is this dot grid? It's not square, for one thing. It is taller than it is wide, and it's really small. I gotta measure this. This one's got both metric and imperial measurements on it. So we're looking at about 2.5 millimeters wide by 4 millimeters tall in inches, 1/8 of an inch wide, and just a little bit more than that tall. Look, don't know how I feel about this as far as using it to set up your own layouts. I feel like you'd have to approach it a bit differently to how you approach a standard 5mm dot grid. I don't think I'm super mad at it. I think it would still be usable, and of course you could stick stuff over it. Like you could do a printable for a tracker that maybe the journal is lacking that you want to have near the beginning of the book. Or if you just used it for decorative things, or like putting all of your book covers, it would be fine for that purpose. Just a weird choice with that dot grid spacing. And then we have, another dot grid page over here on the left, and then another reading check-in, which we just had back here before our book reviews. Okay, so that's 2 reading check-in pages, exactly the same as last time. Onward, more book reviews. Okay, this is arranged very interestingly. 4, 8, dot grid. What are we doing here? Dot grid, reading check-in, okay. Okay, pattern recognition, let's go. Surely there will be 8 book reviews and then a reading check-in after the dot grid. Yep. Is that just going to be it for the rest of the book? Is this all we have? Pretty bare bones if so, but usable. Like a good starting point maybe. 30-day challenge. All right, wait, hang on. Okay, I'm wondering if this is supposed to get you through a full year. 30-day challenge, random tandem reading report, not sure what he's doing. Okay, say we start from here. Reading check-in. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 months, if my theory is correct, and then we begin again. Let me just rifle through here. 30-day challenge, reading check-in, reading check-in, reading check-in, reading check-in, 30-day challenge. That does seem to be the pattern. Every 4 months you get a challenge page. This one's got some random pink stuff on it. We do seem to be using the same image, but like mixing up the direction so it sort of looks a bit different. There's our ribbon bookmark, just gonna toss him out. Oh, we got another tandem reading report too, following our extra 30-day challenge. So it seems like every 30-day challenge will have a tandem reading report on the back of it. I don't think people are tandem reading as much as you're hoping they are, but maybe I'm wrong about that, let me know. And then I'm feeling like this is just going to repeat throughout the rest. Is there anything different towards the back? Oh, we're getting close to the back and it's just the same. Oh, new stuff. Wow, there's like 3 pages at the back here with some different things. All right, what do we got? Logged months. What do you mean? What does that mean? 9? Why would you give me 9? Give me enough for a year. I suppose you've got dot grid on this side, so you could just bring this over if you wanted. Also, what's with these boxes? They have gaps. It's like you just made these out of underscores and vertical slashes. I'm alarmed. And a little keep going at the bottom here in that other weird script font that I don't think works with the rest of the stuff. I assume it's supposed to be tying in this on the cover, but that font is much cuter than this one. This is also giving 2010s millennial girly, which is not a bad thing. I'm not trying to slander the 2010s millennial girlies. I was one. It just feels a little outdated to me now, but it would do the job. You can cover it with a sticker, of course. I don't get what you're supposed to do here. It sort of looks like it could be a book of the month kind of thing, like your best read of the month. Potentially, I don't know. I guess there's a bunch of ways you could use it. You could add your own page numbers, I suppose, and almost use it like an index, but then it would be so weird that it's at the back. I don't know what to think of that one. Let's carry on. Reading tracker, please put this at the front of the journal. Please, please, please put this at the front of the journal. You can tell it your target and the year that you want to cover. And then you have circles for each day of each month to get you through January to December. You don't have a key and you don't have a lot of room for one, so you'd probably have to add a little tip in maybe, or back here on this page, which is annoying because it's not that handy to this one, but it's not too far away, I guess. Good for just like, if your target is just to read every day, this would be pretty easy because you can just color it in. But if you had certain page numbers, or if you were tracking like audio versus ebook versus paperback versus hardcover, whatever it is, you'd have to add your little key. And do you know what? I've just looked at the facing page and this, why is this here? Important contacts, first of all, at the back of the book. So if you lose it, this is not the first place someone's going to come looking for a way to get it back to you. That's going to be, yeah, this book belongs to back at the start. Also, why is this in a reading journal? What do you mean? And why is there a TikTok/Instagram? I suppose the kids need that these days. A lot of us do stay in touch through social media, I guess. I don't want it. So you know what? I would cover this. White sticker paper, piece of printer paper, something, just like cover this whole thing and make it the key for the reading tracker, because that's going to be way more useful in a reading journal, in my humble opinion, than important contacts. This has no place in a reading journal. I don't know why you would do that. Unless, like I mentioned back here with this intro planner belongs to page, maybe this is a default option that their supplier, their manufacturer just had, and they were like, do you know what? We've got a page to fill. Give us the contacts. Give us the contacts page. Don't give us the contacts page. I don't want it. And our very last page, which is annoying as heck because it's glued to this one. I get that they have to, especially now that I've just fixed my own reading journal by slicing it open and gluing things back together. I get why this is necessary for the integrity of the book. Can we not print important things on it, please? Wow, this is making me a little mad. I actually don't, from what I can tell so far, I don't think it's a bad reading journal. I'm just confused by some of the choices. I actually think it would be a pretty good place to start from what I can tell, but like if you've never kept a reading journal before, some good like simple approaches here, but 100 book challenge, not a bad thing. Start and end dates, total what? Because presumably, I mean, I guess if you don't reach the 100, you can put what you did reach there, and a little book to color in every day. They've each got a number on them. Look, that's cute, that's functional. Once again, can I have this at the front of the journal? Can I have this right at the start, please? Back with this guy. Trackers at the beginning. Stats at the back, I'd accept. Trackers at the beginning, folks. That's what we want. And that's it. That's all she wrote. I guess we road test now. This should be interesting. We're not working with 160 GSM paper here, but it's not super thin either. I will give it a go with a fountain pen. This one's very fine. If you prefer a thicker fountain pen, you may have different results to me. I'm not going to put my name in the front. I think this is a bit much. I would cover the whole thing and do my own little reading journal moment here, especially if you have one of those from the library of stamps or embossing things. I think that would be so cool in a reading journal. I don't have one of those because I don't really have paper books. I don't have physical books so much. I actually think because so much of this is the same thing over and over, and when I'm done with the reading journals that I review, I like to find them new homes, and like I've barely used very many pages of them usually, so I will take them to a community book swap or give them to a friend, that kind of thing. So I think I might go to the last little section here. Reading check-in. I don't know, do we need to do the 30-day challenge page? Where was that? The very beginning, for some unknown reason. I'm doing a 31-day challenge. We're doing the Bewitched Reading Challenge, which is my spooky season reading challenge. If you're keen to find out more about it, here's a video that explains how the rules work and everything. I guess maybe we'll do this little section. Does it have a reading check-in as well? Yeah, it does. Just up to here, just these few pages, and then if I find a new home for it and they don't want this bit that I've tampered with, they can cut all of those pages out or glue them together or something. Cover my answers up and add their own. Okay, we're gonna start with the fountain pen, and then I'll also get my little Tom Studio Ren pen in here as well. Also uses fountain pen ink, but not in the same way. So this one's less likely to bleed through than a flowy fountain pen. I might actually, look, if we're gonna test it out, let's go hard. I'm gonna stamp Bewitched Book Challenge in this space right here, It's not going to be balanced or anything. I could cover this 30-day challenge here with it, but it's not inspiring me to put that much effort in, honestly. So I'm just looking at what's around me and grabbing things from what's available without me having to get up. I've got this gold marker here from when I was setting up my October theme. It's still on my desk, so I'm just going to use that to stamp Bewitched Book Challenge in whatever gap I can. Whoops. Technically, the Bewitched Book Challenge is a bit more involved than this whole page can really track. It can't really be tracked with 30 circles in a line next to Let's Do This. You'd have to use the facing page with the dot grid on it to add the spell book and the challenge rules if that was something you wanted to keep track of. Like, would be useful to have it right next to the challenge info there, and you've got another spread before that of dot grid paper as well. So you could make it work, but a lot of the challenges out there are a bit more involved than this page really would accommodate. I'm gonna move into the goal space here if I continue any further than that. So I think, is this too lazy? Bewitched Book Challenge. I'm just gonna cover that. There we go. Hey, we did it. It's not the prettiest thing I've ever done, but it did the job. My goal for the Bewitched Book Challenge, do you know what? It's my own book challenge that I have devised, so my goal for it is not only for myself, it's for everyone who joins in. And that is to bring a little bit of Halloween magic to the lives of people who enjoy the spooky season and like to read. Why is this important for me? I mean, it's not that important, it's just a bit of fun. I guess that's an answer, fun. Creating Halloween opportunities in Australia, I guess, because we don't have many of those. It's not really the done thing here. And yes, that is mostly just because I want to celebrate it. What can I do to accomplish my goal? Read the books that I chose. I made myself a list. And share the challenge with other people on social media. Weaknesses. I've been reading less this year. Reward. I made stickers. Fun is also a reward. I haven't done the challenge yet, so I don't know that we want to fill in like, let's do this and how did it go. Just in case this ends up with somebody I don't know, I'm going to put my Instagram handle here. I do sometimes just leave them at community book swaps, so if that sounds like fun to somebody, maybe they can join in next year. Depending on how quickly I destash this journal, maybe they can join in this year, who knows. Tandem reading report. I'm just going to ignore that. I've got no idea what to do with that. What am I reading? I'm reading so many things right now. Oh my goodness. I'm reading The Travelling Tea Shop by Belinda Jones. I hate when I can't put both the title and the author's name, but in this instance, it doesn't seem like I'm going to be able to fit both. That's annoying. I got to check my story graph. I don't usually have this many books on the go at once, but I'm reading The Travelling Tea Shop as a paperback, which I don't usually do, and I can't read it at night in the dark while my partner's sleeping, so I started a different ebook in order to not wake him up, which is Defend the Dawn by Bridget Kemmerer, which is number 2 in the Defy the Night series. I also started a book I got in a book box. Hang on, I'm just going to go P for physical. Defend the Dawn is ebook. I'm going to put an E. This one I started on audio, Slaying the Shifter Prince by Claire Sager. Even though I have a beautiful special edition physical hardcover, I'm reading it on audiobook. And I also started, but I'm going to take it really slow on this one because it's super long, from a different book box, The Crimson Petal and the White. I'm going to wrap that around because I have space. That's by Michelle Faber. This week I felt, at the time I'm recording this, it's Monday, so do we talk about last week? How did I feel? I was trying to make my reading fit with the October challenge, so like things I'm picking up now, like Defend the Dawn, are probably more inclined to be spooky season reads, like fantasy kind of vibey stuff. Slaying the Shifter Prince likewise. The Crimson Petal and the White is more of like a gritty, old, historical London story. The Travelling Tea Shop is a bit more like contemporary romance vibes. And so I'm kind of putting those ones on pause to focus on the reading challenge, even though I am like enjoying them. They're not the vibe we're going for spooky season. So I guess torn between ongoing September reads and gearing up for spooky season. What part of my book made me have all the feelings? Well, I've just finished Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, and the male main character in that is really sweet and lovely and thoughtful, and so that kind of had me in my feelings. I love a main character like that when he's just like obsessed with the female main character and like can't help but show it. I may be spelling names wrong in this because I read this one on audio, so I don't know how people spell their names. Quote of the week. Let me quickly check. I did write one down from The Crimson Petal and the White. Just saved it in my notes app with all my peach ratings, which is my book rating system. It's from chapter 2. The quote is, "No one ever escaped into a better life without the aid of imagination." Things to discuss with my therapist post-reading. I think I'm gonna leave that. And book boyfriend / girlfriend shout out, definitely Lucas Bloomfeld. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up. Oh, wowee. Been spelling that all wrong. Okay, let's give him a moment since I did him dirty up here. He can have a pretty pink marker. We're gonna go all hand lettering on his name. Yep, that'll do. Blomqvist. I'm glad I did that one on audio because I would not have known what to do with that. She doesn't speak Swedish. And by she, I mean myself. All right, let's try a book review. Should we? I mean, that's the book I've finished most recently is Deep End. So I feel like it could be what we do here. The first thing I'm going to do, because I forgot this almost in my last reading journal review, excuse me while I bust out my sticker book over here, is to put my Peach Ratings sticker down because I have my own rating system that I like to use. I made my own stickers for it and I think it's going to fit quite nicely here actually. This side, that side. I'm going to put it over here because that's closer to the rest of the stats here. All right, let's do a different pen for this one. Also, just taking note, we're on the opposite side here and it doesn't seem like we've had any issues with the pens coming through the page. No ghosting, no bleeding. Very good to see. I would guess it's probably 100, maybe 120 GSM, not sure. Just gonna do this first one here with Deep End. Fair warning, I'm talking this one up a bit. It does have some content warnings. It is a very spicy book and it contains some unusual spice. So just know that if you're seeming intrigued by the way I talk about this book. It may not be for everyone. I don't think I wrote down any quotes from this one. That pink marker actually goes quite nicely with the marble, doesn't it? So I'm going to use that for my vibe check here. I'm giving it the smiley face, but not like super enthused. Ali Hazelwood has a formula. It works for her. She's a scientist. When you do something well repeatedly and get continued good results, of course, she's going to replicate it. That makes perfect sense to me. I will read them regardless of whether they are the same pattern over and over again. But I have a video about my Peach rating system in case you're interested in seeing how it works. Each of the letters stands for a different category: plot, enjoyment, artistry, characters, and heart. I give those a rating out of 5. Add that up for a total out of 25, which is in this case 18 3/4, and then divide that by 5 to get the star rating, which in this case is 3.75. Just going to color that star rating in up the top here. Do enjoy that the stars are provided for you. Not everybody rates by a star rating, but I do feel like it is the most common system, so we do like to see it in a reading journal. The 3/4 star is always quite tricky. Not quite 4 stars, but pretty close. Spice rating. I don't have a metric for this. Just going to color them in with that same pink marker from earlier. Very spicy, but like in a respectful way still, I feel. Depending on what you're into. Look, it's not for everyone. There's some kink in this book. It's like if 50 Shades of Grey was set in a college swim team, but they actually did consent a lot better. I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10 chilies, which is 4 out of 5 if you prefer it on a 5-star chili kind of rating. And I'm just gonna put down some thoughts. Don't read if you don't want spoilers. Okay, one thing we're missing here is a format and a dates read kind of a section, which is something I like to have in my own. So that second line below the title, I'm just gonna use for audiobook. And goodness, what were the dates I read this? September 18 to 28. Would love to see a field for that. Not a deal breaker. You can always add it yourself somewhere, but would love to see a field for that. Was there more after this? Just book reviews? No, there kind of wasn't. Have I really just filled out 3 pages and that's the whole journal essentially? Obviously we've got those little trackers at the back. I don't think you need to see me fill out the 100 book challenge. It's very straightforward. Reading tracker, I always skip this one when I review them because I don't actually keep track of this for myself. I would just be making up the data, which isn't really a good way to test if the thing works or not. But I do really think you need a key for this kind of thing. I think it sucks that it doesn't have space for that. And if it doesn't have space for that, maybe put it next to the page that lets you track it. Don't know what the heck to do with this, really. Confused by the logged months page. So I feel like that's kind of all I can do here. But look, for $17, and if you add some extra stationery to your cart, you're getting free shipping. Over $30, right, with Journalsay. I think that's what it is. Let me confirm that I'm not telling you the wrong thing. Standard delivery is free for orders $29 US. So you could add some extra stuff to your cart and get this shipped to you for free. If you didn't want to only get this one thing. It's really lacking in some ways, but I actually think the book review section is more accessible in its kind of compactness than some of the drawn out like 2 or 3 spread systems that I've seen in some of the more high-end luxury journals. So book reviews, I really like. The 30-day challenge repetition thing, I'm not sure I get. I think I get what they're going for by like spacing them out throughout the book so that you can just kind of like roll through as your year goes on, just find them as they're relevant to you. Let me just see how many sections we've actually got here. So I'm going to count it by reading check-in pages. 1, 2, 3, 20, 23? There are 23 of these reading check-in pages. So I take back what I said about it being something that they seem to want you to do once a month. I guess it's just something they want you to do every 8 books, which is fine. I don't know. I'm really torn about this format. I do think it's kind of cool in a way that it's spaced out and sprinkled around, and you can do these little check-ins around your book reviews, but I also feel like it's not a fully baked idea, particularly given all of our kind of fun tracker stuff is right at the very back. There's not very much of it, and there's this completely useless important contacts page. Wow, yeah, I can't tell if I'm confused or impressed by this thing. This is confounding.
I like to rate the reading journals I review in much the same way I rate the books I read, with a star rating based on these criteria: book cover, internal aesthetic, practicality and function, and enjoyment. Starting with the cover, which I think is fine. It's not offensive in any way, but it's also nothing special. And the fact that it's likely a knockoff from a product from a small brand brings it down a bit in my estimation too. Those who love to sticker bomb their stuff might have a great time redecorating it though. It's getting 3 stars for the cover. I'm torn on the internal aesthetic for this one. I appreciate that it's doing something decorative with its pages at all, especially when so many other brands who charge a lot more have far simpler internal design, but the decoration's a little repetitive. The font choices don't fill me with rage, and I didn't spot any glaring graphic design issues, which is more than I can say for some of the other more expensive reading journals, so I'll give it 3.5. Practicality and function is hard to call for this journal. If you're looking for something very simple and straightforward, this might be all you need. But if you're hoping for the features we've seen in plenty of other pre-printed reading journals like bookshelf trackers or stats pages or TBR spreads, this journal falls far short of your needs, while, in my opinion, oversupplying some fairly unimportant pages. One thing it's not lacking is book review spaces. You can actually track 192 books in this journal, which is way more than 24, just saying. The dot grid pages do provide some flexibility for adding your own extra stuff, which is always welcome, and I like that they're sprinkled throughout rather than all in a chunk at the end of the book. But the dot grid itself is so weird, I think it reduces functionality for those pages somewhat. I'd love to see things rearranged in this journal and to see the important contacts page flung into the sun, but that seems unlikely to happen. This journal's giving cash in on the reading journal trend vibes, so I'm sure they aren't that interested in improving the user experience. I have to hedge my bets on this one and call it 2.5 stars. I wouldn't say that I especially enjoyed the experience of using this journal. Some of it made very little sense to me, and this one is entirely without the explainer pages we sometimes see in other reading journals. Those usually feel a bit over-explained to me, but I feel like this journal could benefit from a touch more guidance. I didn't even feel motivated to print a book cover or decorate a page, so once again, I'm going with a middling 2.5 for enjoyment. That gives us a total score of 11.5 out of 20, which works out to a pretty mediocre star rating of 2.875, not quite 3 stars. I'm always so keen to know your thoughts though. Do you see merit where I missed it? Did you notice any details I didn't? Can you envision a different interpretation for a page, or do you know what the heck to do with all those tandem reading pages? Please let me know down below. If the hunt for a pre-printed reading journal is leaving you more frustrated than fulfilled, you can check out my video on how to start a DIY reading journal you'll actually use here, or continue on your hunt with my reading journal review playlist here.